Comment, bienvenue, welcome one and all to another live stream. You'll notice that I've got the incandescent light that is Sally Inkster, find brand new, there she is, in front of her, multicolored. Now, what are those?
Sequins.
Sequins, of course they are.
They are.
And, but as you may have noticed, she has a very strong, obvious branding, everything from the signature logo through to the color schemes, through to the way she presents herself, through the consistency about the way she looks. All of that is to do with building a personal brand. So I'm going to put on my stupid hat and say, what's the point of a personal brand? What's all the fuss?
Well, you have a personal brand, whether you want one or not, because it happens by default. It's a bit like when we used to work in offices and it was just an office, you had the reputation of, oh, she likes the orange mug, or she does this, or she likes the cream cakes, or she always takes lunch at 1 o'clock, or she's the person you go to for plasters, or she's the one who's caring, or be careful of her. It's your reputation. And that's what a personal brand is. And that used to happen just out live, but now we have to put it over on Zoom, on our website, through our LinkedIn. Everywhere we go, we have to show our reputation. And we have to decide what we want to be shown. Otherwise, people will make it up for you. And that will happen by default.
But isn't it just another form of showing off?
No, it's not showing off. It's showing who you are, Gareth, because if you don't show people who they are, how can they understand whether they want to follow you, trust you, work with you, or just not follow you? They have to make that decision. But unless you have the clarity around yourself to be able to understand and put it into words or pictures or colours and put it out there, then they can't understand that. And
so it's just a mask, is it?
No, it's not a mask. It's authenticity, believe it or not. Because if you decide...
I'm doing this intentionally, so sorry.
It's all right, I'll forgive you. I know what you like.
Okay.
And I know also that I am preaching to you, to the converted, because I know you understand what personal brand is.
Of course I do. But the point about this is, I know there'll be people out there that say, don't give these people shouting that they've got this special branding. Why do I need to do that? Can't I just turn up in slacks and what I am to be doing the gardening in and just sell my stuff, and then people will just buy it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what people think. And when I started doing personal brand in particular 7 years ago, it was just something American celebrities had, and British celebrities were copying with a personal brand, and they were making it up. You know, people were saying, okay, we want you to come over like this, like this, like this.
Yes.
But the whole thing now is that you want to show who you are, what you stand for, and how you help, just so authentically that everywhere the people come across you, so whether they see you out live, whether they see you on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, then you are exactly the same. You are who you say you are. And they go, oh, yeah, she's the same there as she is here and she is there. There is nothing worse for me than when I go on to Zoom and somebody's picture comes up first before they put the video on. And then they put the video on and that picture has no correlation to the person I'm seeing at all. I mean, their hair is a different color. They are just nothing. You think,
yeah, absolutely. No. And I get this all the time, actually. I'm going to do another one. So hold yourself together. Hang on. So it's just about a logo, right?
A logo isn't your
brand. You know, people say that all the time.
Yeah, it's just your logo. And a logo is branding. Okay, there is a difference between brand and branding. Brand is, as I say, who you are, what you stand for, and how you help. Branding is how you show those things.
Right.
Okay. And then marketing is how you use your branding to spread the message about your brand.
So what happens if I want to be all purples this week, and next week I just want to be all yellows? Can I do that?
Well, you probably could, Gareth, because you.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that.
Okay, so the thing that people out there need is consistency. Okay, we would understand, and I would understand, Gareth, if you suddenly wanted to go yellow and turn everything upside down and use that for a week. I would get it, but your audience won't, because they need consistency, and they need consistency so much that in actual fact you are probably bored of what you're saying and the picture you're showing, because you've said it and shown it so often that you think surely they want to change. But at that stage is the stage when they are just beginning to notice you and go, ah, yeah, I've seen her before. Yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, she's quite right. They're just beginning to get it then.
So should you always wear the same clothes? Do it always appear exactly the same, or is there any room for variation?
Oh, there's loads of room for variation. I mean, my goodness, if I couldn't wear my wardrobe, but I'm always with my sequins. And sometimes if I don't wear sequins next to my sequins, because that could be a bit over the top for the Zoom. But when I go out, I would wear all these colours because they're my colours. They're the colours of my clothes that I wear. They're the colours that are in my wardrobe. So when I go out live networking, obviously I don't take the banner with me every time, but I will probably wear blues or oranges or reds or those colours that are there during that time I'm out. So yes, of course there's variation, but you need something that's consistent. Now, if my signature changed every time, somebody wouldn't instantly recognize it. You know, Nike doesn't change their tick every 2 minutes. Their tick has been around for ages, and people recognize it because of that.
Yeah, and so tell me about brand story. What is that about?
Brand story it's an amalgamation of you, your history, what you've done to get to where you are today. And quite often, when you get somebody's brand story, it's sort of where it went wrong, because we know in life when things go wrong and it's absolutely dreadful, something else happens because of that puts you on the next step of your journey. So becoming your brand story is really your history, your experience, your skills, your talents, all put together to show why and how you're doing what you're doing now in your unique way for your particular clients or the clients who are going to be attracted to you.
Can you illustrate something of that with, perhaps without naming names, but how a client used brand story and personal branding to gain a better foothold with prospective clients?
Yeah. So I have a client come to me, and she, it's hard to believe, but she actually had 4 different businesses. Okay. And so she would go out networking, and each networking she'd have a different business card for each business that she had. And she did one business on one platform, and life was just so confusing.
And chaotic. Sounds chaotic.
Yeah. And no clarity, because every time somebody saw somebody on Facebook, they'd recognize her name. But of course, she wasn't doing the same thing as she was doing on LinkedIn. And if they saw her out live, then she was probably doing something different.
Right.
So what we did was gave her a personal brand that became the umbrella and explained why she was doing these 4 businesses, because there was something in her and her history that made it completely logical that she did these 4 businesses. It wasn't logical to anybody else out there at all until she explained it by, this is who I am, which is why. So it's a bit the same with me. My history is in cancer nursing. Okay. I was a ward sister and a nurse specialist. Now, what has that got to do with personal brand?
What has that got to do with personal brand, Sally Inkster?
Okay. So the blues, these pictures, sorry, we're back to front. The blues are very much about empathy. Nurses wear blue. It's safe, it's secure, it's traditional, it's caring, it's empathetic. So that was my background. And I also work with cancer patients. So I used to get a lot of stories. People, when they're at end of life, do give you lots of stories. And I learned lots about what make people tick. And I also learned as a student nurse that if I washed somebody, did their hair, put makeup on, I was talking about females, and put pink nightie on them, they felt so much better than they did prior to me doing that. And so the whole ethos, when I became a nurse specialist, when my patients probably lost their hair or they'd lost a breast, it was all about how can we make you feel fabulous or look fabulous, because when you look fabulous, you will feel fabulous. But also, we want to be able to put your story over. And so I was a nurse, and then I finished nursing to bring up my children. Then I got bored. Don't tell them that. I hope they don't listen. And then I became a stylist. And I became a stylist because it helps people feel good about themselves, look good, their confidence increases. Because their confidence increases, their whole well-being increases. So styling and nursing actually had quite a lot in common. It was all about making people feel better than they did before they came to me. And that's exactly what I do with businesses now. Businesses come to me, they're not very confident, they're very confused, and they're not sure where they're going, they're a bit stuck, things aren't working well, and they're not sure why. So I can give them clarity, I give them content, I give them confidence through their personal brand. So it makes sense how I've brought my nursing along with my styling into personal brand. And that's
confidence and charisma seem to massively improve when you present in a cohesive, enjoyable way. I know of two things. I read a stat only 2 days ago that people who drove clean, gleaming cars feel like they're going much faster than the old dirty car.
Absolutely.
And I personally feel better when I've got a new pair of brogues on. A new pair of brogues on, I feel like I'm walking taller, I'm standing stiffer, I feel I've got better authority. I don't know why. It just seems to pull me all together. There's something to do with presenting cohesively and with a strong vision of what you look like that seems to pull it all together.
Absolutely. And even when people come to me for personal brand, we actually do talk about their car. You know, has it got rubbish in it? Is it dirty? Because if you get in your car and you declutter, every time you get in your car, and it's the same with your office, you know, all those environmental things are also so important to how you work and how you come over. Because somebody who has got a cluttered life here, there, and everywhere has probably got a cluttered business as well. And you need decluttering and you need clarity.
So are you saying that having a strong personal branding that you can buy into yourself gives you clarity? Is that the message here?
It gives you clarity and confidence, completely and utterly. But because you also know yourself so well, having gone through it, it also gives you content, plus, for your blogs, for your SEO, for your hashtags, for your social media, for your stories.
Let's talk about that, because I know there's going to be a portion of our audience who are going to want to know, well, it's all very well. I've got the suit or the dress, or I've worked out my colors. I've got a nice bit of jewelry to match and the accessories, and I've got my hair, my lipstick right, and so on, and even perhaps even a backdrop. Well, how do I now get it out there? What do I do? What are the first steps I should be thinking about to start putting that branding out there? I guess it must be codifying the brand, working out what that actually is.
Absolutely. So it is looking at how you know, those clothes you wear, and if you feel fabulous in them, they're probably the right color clothes, and they are probably the right style clothes, and you've done everything correct for your shape. If you can transfer that into a logo or into how your website looks, then brilliant. Quite often with my clients, we have to do both at the same time. And because I love to look quite colourful, I love colour. I also like to be put together. I like things to coordinate. Okay, that's, you know, if I go out, I like things to coordinate. You don't have to be like that. That's just who I am. You know, other people like clashing colours or whatever. So long as you understand what it is in your personality that can be shown, then that's great.
No,
and then put it into your branding.
I heard you mention that one of the first things you look at, for instance, is it reflected through the website? And I happen to know that you are on a I don't know, confidence and supply arrangement with a website specialist, or even a collaboration, a cooperative, if you will.
That's it. Yeah.
Would you tell us a bit about that?
Well, because personal brand is one of those foundations. Okay, it's the first thing you should do, because if you have identified everything about you, so that's all everything that's going on in your head, your mind, and your brain, all which are very different things. But if you've identified those things, then you've identified what you are physically, how you work, your colors, your fonts, all those sort of things. And then you've clarified what you're doing in your business and all your packages, etc. You can then go to your website designer and go, hello, this is me. Based on me, can you build me a wonderful website? Then you can go to your copywriter and say, dear copywriter, this is me. These are my stories. Could you make them sound slightly more intelligent than I've put them down here? Then you go to your brand photographer and say, I know you can take lovely pictures of me, but actually this is the message I'm trying to get across. Could you take some pictures of me that will show those emotions or show that or bring me over, rather than just being pretty pictures of me? And then you've got everything that works. Invariably.
Wow. I've never heard it put into a nutshell like that before. And it bears thought. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up, but before I do, I wanted to say Sally is going to be live streaming with me fairly consistently here and out. And we are going to be talking about different aspects of branding. We're going to be talking about perhaps examples of brand stories. If you see yourself in them and you recognize that's the position you're at, I recommend highly you find her on LinkedIn or you visit her site. Now, I'm just going to pop up a little banner there. You can see it says sallyinkster.com. Not hard to remember. You'll know you're there because that eponymous signature will pop up and you'll know it's in the right place. Once again, navigate to her LinkedIn as well. Or if you find any of that not working for you, come to me and I'll certainly pop you in the right direction. Thoroughly enjoyable. Thank you very much, Sally. Yes, of course, I understand a little bit about it. I've branded myself. I have a fairly strong, unusual brand. But you know what? You don't realize the depth to which you can take this, because it's not just about wearing a silly hat and a funny bow tie and having purple everywhere. It's more than that, isn't it? It is my essence, and I'm proud to display it to you, Sally. Once again, thoroughly engaging. And guys, I wish you all that you have conversations as enjoyable as this one, and that you have a marvelous weekend, and of course, fantastic mental health. Until the next time we speak, bye bye and good night.
Thank you.